Dear one, if you've been replaying what they did and wondering why you still feel trapped, you're not alone. Some days it feels as if your mind has a little movie theater inside it, showing the same scene again and again, the words they said, the way they looked at you, the moment you felt dismissed, betrayed, misunderstood, or simply not valued, and each time that scene plays, your body reacts as if it's happening right now. You may even tell yourself, I should be over this by now. Sweetheart, please don't use that sentence as a weapon against your own heart. Healing doesn't respond to pressure. Healing responds to gentleness. When we have been hurt, blaming can feel like protection. Blame can feel like a shield. It can feel like proof that what happened was real, that your feelings are valid, and that you were wronged. And yes, your feelings are valid. Your pain matters. You are not making it up. And yet, blame has a hidden cost, because the moment you decide that someone else is responsible for how you feel today, you unknowingly give them a kind of authority over your inner world. You don't mean to. You're not doing anything wrong. But if your peace depends on another person changing, apologizing, understanding, or behaving differently, then your peace is living in their hands. And I want your peace back in yours. That is what this time together is about. Not about excusing anyone. Not about pretending it didn't hurt. Not about forcing yourself to just forgive in a way that bypasses your feelings. This is about restoring your power gently, honestly, and in a way that respects your experience. Because, dear one, your power lives in your choices, and your choices can begin right now. Take a slow breath with me. Just one. In and out. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Allow your belly to be easy for a moment. You're safe here. Now let me share something I have learned over time. When I stop blaming, I do not lose my truth. I gain my freedom. And freedom is what your soul has been asking for. Sometimes we think blame is strength. We think blame is what keeps us from being a doormat. We think blame is how we make sure we don't let people get away with things. And there's a part of that that makes sense, especially if you've been hurt repeatedly. If you've been the one who tried to understand, tried to fix it, tried to make it work, tried to be kind, and still ended up feeling like you were the one left holding the pain. So you build a case in your mind. You collect evidence. You rehearse conversations. You imagine the perfect moment when you finally say the perfect thing and they finally see what they did. And sweetheart, I understand. I really do. But here is the gentle truth. When your mind becomes a courtroom, your heart becomes a prisoner. Blame keeps you tied to the very thing you want to be free from. It keeps you energetically connected to the person, the event, the unfairness. It's like holding a rope that's burning your hands and believing the only way to stop the burn is to make the other person drop their end first. But you can drop the rope. This does not mean you pretend it didn't happen. It means you choose your own life again. You see, blame is a habit of attention. It directs your focus outward. It says, the reason I feel this way is out there. And in a way, it can feel relieving to say that, because then you don't have to do anything. You can simply wait. You can wait for them to change, wait for justice, wait for closure, and many people wait for years. I say this with compassion. Waiting is exhausting. Because your life is happening now, your mornings are happening now, your body is living now, your precious moments are passing now, and your power, your beautiful sacred power, belongs in the present. My power lives in my choices. Let those words be soft inside you. My power lives in my choices. When you say that, you're not saying, it was my fault. You're not saying, I deserved it. You're not saying they were right. You are simply saying, I am no longer outsourcing my inner world. And that is a spiritual maturity that is deeply healing. Now, I want to be very clear. Taking your power back does not mean you tolerate harm. It does not mean you stay in unhealthy situations. It does not mean you smile while being mistreated. No, sweetheart, taking your power back often means you make different choices, choices that honor you, and those choices can be tender and firm at the same time. So let's begin with this simple question. Where have you been giving your power away? Not as a judgment, as an inquiry, as a gentle noticing. Are you giving your power away when you keep replaying the past? Are you giving your power away when you keep checking for their messages, their reactions, their approval? Are you giving your power away when you tell yourself you cannot be okay until they admit what they did? Just notice and breathe, because noticing is the beginning of change. If you'd like, place one hand on your heart, let it be a warm anchor, and quietly say, I am willing to come home to myself. That willingness is a doorway, and you don't have to force it open. Just place your hand on the doorknob. That is enough for today. Now, there is something very important I want you to understand, because many people get stuck right here. They think that taking responsibility means blaming themselves, and those are not the same thing. Responsibility is empowering. Self-blame is punishing. Responsibility says, what can I choose now? Self-blame says, what is wrong with me? Responsibility says, I can learn. Self-blame says, I am broken. Responsibility says, I can heal. Self-blame says, I deserve to suffer. Do you feel the difference, sweetheart? One opens the chest, the other closes it. I have learned that we cannot heal through cruelty, not even cruelty toward ourselves. We heal through love. So when we talk about ending blame, we're not replacing it with another form of blame. We are moving into a new energy altogether, a new energy that says, I honor what happened, and I honor my life. There are times when something truly was unfair. Someone truly behaved badly. Someone truly didn't show up. Someone truly violated your trust. We do not deny that. But here's what I want you to consider. The pain of what happened is one thing, and the pain of carrying it every day is another. You may not have chosen what happened then, but you can choose what happens inside you now. My power lives in my choices, and this is where your power begins to return. Not with dramatic speeches, not with perfect forgiveness, not with a sudden transformation that leaves you feeling like you must never be upset again. It returns through a gentle shift in how you speak to yourself. So I invite you to notice your inner language, just for today. Not to police it, not to shame it, just to observe. When you say, they ruined my life, what does your body feel? When you say, they always do this, what happens inside your chest? When you say, I'll never trust again, how does your stomach respond? Now, I want to offer you a new kind of sentence, one that keeps your truth but restores your power. Instead of, they ruined my life, you might say, that experience hurt me, and I am rebuilding my life with love. Instead of, they always do this, you might say, I am learning what I will and will not accept. Instead of, I'll never trust again, you might say, I am learning to trust myself. Do you feel how those sentences place you back in the center of your own life? Because, sweetheart, the goal is not to trust everyone. The goal is to trust you, to trust your ability to listen to your body, to honor your intuition, to choose your boundaries, to leave when something isn't aligned, to speak when something matters. When you trust yourself, you don't have to control others, and that is freedom. Now, if a part of you says, but if I stop blaming, they get away with it, I want you to listen closely. Your healing is not their reward. Your peace is not their prize. Your freedom is not their victory. Your healing is for you. And when you choose to heal, you are not letting anyone win. You are ending a war that you no longer want to live inside. That is a brave thing. Take a breath and whisper to yourself, I can be compassionate with my feelings and still choose freedom. Yes, sweetheart, both can be true. Now let me offer you a picture, because sometimes the mind understands through images in a way the heart can hold. Imagine your inner world as a beautiful home. Not a perfect home, just a real one, a living one. A place with windows and rooms and a front door. A place where your spirit rests. Now imagine that every time you say, they made me feel this way, you are handing someone a key to that home. A key that lets them walk in any time they want. A key that lets them turn on the lights or turn them off. A key that lets them open the refrigerator of your emotions and take whatever they please. Most of us have handed out keys without realizing it. We handed out keys to parents, partners, bosses, friends, strangers online. We handed out keys to memories. We handed out keys to old conversations. We handed out keys to the version of ourselves who felt small and scared. And sweetheart, this is not your fault. It is something many of us learned when we were young. We learned to read other people's moods to feel safe. We learned to earn love. We learned that being good meant being approved of. We learned that peace depended on someone else being okay, but you are not a child anymore. And you do not have to keep handing out keys. The moment you say, my power lives in my choices, you begin to take your keys back. You don't have to wrestle them from anyone. You don't have to fight. You simply decide, this is my home now. And when you take your keys back, you also accept something sacred, responsibility for the atmosphere of your inner home. If your home has been full of noise, replays, arguments, blame, resentment, you have the right to change the music. If your home has been filled with harsh self-talk, you have the right to bring in soft light. If your home has been visited by fear, you have the right to close the door and breathe. So here is a gentle practice you can do today, even if you're still hurt. Close your eyes for a moment, if it feels safe, and picture yourself standing at the front door of your inner home. Now picture the people you've given keys to. You don't have to make them villains. You don't have to make them saints. Just picture them as human beings. And in your imagination, you simply say, I'm taking my key back now. You may imagine them handing it to you, or you may simply imagine the key returning to your hand like a magnet coming home. Then you hold that key to your heart, and you say, this is my life, this is my mind, this is my heart. I choose what lives here. My power lives in my choices. This practice may not erase the past, but it changes the present. And the present is where your life is. Now you may feel emotion when you do this. You might feel sadness, anger, grief, relief. All of it is welcome. Feelings are simply energy moving through. Let them move like a river. Let them flow. You don't have to dam the river with blame. You can allow it to move and soften the stones. And when you open your eyes, you might notice something simple. A little more space in your chest. A little more room to breathe. That space is your power returning. Now, sweetheart, let's talk about boundaries, because boundaries are one of the most loving ways you take your power back. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They think boundaries are punishment. They think boundaries are cold. They think boundaries are a sign that you don't love someone. Number. Boundaries are a sign that you love you. Let me give you another image. Imagine your life is a garden. In your garden there are tender seedlings, your dreams, your creativity, your healing, your peace. There are also flowers, your joy, your relationships, your moments of laughter. Now, what does a healthy garden have? And it has a fence, not a prison wall, not barbed wire, just a simple fence that says, "This is where my garden begins." A fence does not hate the outside world. A fence simply protects what is growing. When you set a boundary, you are not saying, "You are bad." You are saying, "This is what I need to stay well." And your wellness matters. Your emotional safety matters. Your nervous system matters. Now, boundaries are not always dramatic. Often they are very small choices that you repeat consistently. A boundary might be, "I'm not discussing this when voices are raised." A boundary might be, "I will leave the room when I'm being spoken to disrespectfully." A boundary might be, "I need time before I respond." A boundary might be, "I don't read messages late at night." A boundary might be, "I'm not available for conversations that turn into blame and attack." Do you hear how calm that is? How clean? Boundaries do not require you to justify your worth. They require you to honor it. Now, if you struggle with guilt, you may feel afraid that setting boundaries will make people upset. And yes, sometimes it will. People who benefited from you having no fence may not like the fence. But sweetheart, their discomfort does not mean you are doing something wrong. It may simply mean you are doing something new. And the new can feel scary at first. It can feel like you're stepping into a new season. The air is different. The light falls differently. Your body has to adjust. But over time, boundaries become a kind of peace you can lean on. And here is the most important boundary of all, the boundary inside your own mind. Because you can stop arguing with people who are not in the room. You can stop rehearsing your defense. You can stop returning to the scene and trying to edit it. You can say, "That conversation is over." You can say, "I release the need to be understood by someone who is committed to misunderstanding me." That is power. My power lives in my choices. So today, choose one small boundary, just one. Make it so gentle you can keep it, and then keep it, sweetheart, not with anger, with devotion. Because you are worthy of devotion. Take a breath. Let that land. Now we come to a word that can be tender for many people: forgiveness. Some people have been pressured to forgive in a way that felt like denial. Some people were told to forgive when they were still bleeding inside. Some people were told forgiveness means returning to the same situation, trusting the same person, tolerating the same behavior. That is not what I mean. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. Forgiveness is not saying, "You didn't hurt me." Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is choosing not to carry poison in your own body. Because resentment is heavy, sweetheart. It may feel justified, and it may be, but it is still heavy, and you are the one carrying it. Forgiveness is for your freedom. Sometimes forgiveness is a long process. Sometimes it comes in layers. Sometimes you forgive, and then you notice another layer of pain, and you forgive again. That is normal. Forgiveness is like a river smoothing stones. It doesn't do it in one splash. It does it with steady flow. So if you cannot forgive yet, that is okay. Begin where you are. You can begin with willingness. You can say, "I am willing to release what is hurting me." You can say, "I am willing to loosen my grip." You can say, "I don't have to carry this forever." That willingness is powerful, and sometimes forgiveness begins with this simple truth. People act from the level of consciousness they have. This does not excuse harm, but it helps you stop personalizing everything. It helps you realize that many actions come from fear, ignorance, pain, and old patterns. And when you stop making it about your worth, you stop bleeding. So here is a practice you can try gently in your own time. Picture the person you're blaming. Again, not as a monster, not as an angel, just as a human being. And say inwardly, I release you from my mind. Not from accountability, from your mind, because you deserve your mind back. Then say, I call my energy back to me. This is a powerful sentence. It is like gathering your scattered light and bringing it home. I call my energy back to me. Can you feel that? It's like you're no longer leaving pieces of yourself in old conversations and old rooms. Now say, I choose peace in my body. Peace is not something you earn after they apologize. Peace is something you cultivate inside. And if you need help cultivating it, support is okay. Talk to someone trusted. Seek guidance if you need it. This work is spiritual and emotional, and it can beautifully complement professional support when that is needed. And you don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to do it perfectly. My power lives in my choices. Forgiveness is a choice you can approach like a sunrise. Slow, steady, returning light. Now, sweetheart, let's talk about the story you tell yourself. Because blame is not only an emotion, it's also a narrative. A narrative is the meaning you give to what happened. And many people suffer not only because of the event, but because of the meaning they attach to it. For example, if someone left, the event is they left. But the meaning might be, I'm not lovable, or people always abandon me, or I'm not safe. If someone criticized you, the event is they criticized me, but the meaning might be I'm not good enough, or I will never be seen, or I must be perfect to be loved. Do you see how painful meaning can be? And the beautiful thing is, meaning can change. You cannot always change the event, but you can change the story you carry. So I want you to notice your inner story. If you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would it be? Is it, I always get hurt? Is it, people can't be trusted? Is it, I have to fight to be respected? Is it, no one listens to me? Now, sweetheart, that story may have been formed in a time when you needed it. It may have helped you make sense of chaos. It may have helped you protect yourself. Thank it and then ask, is this story helping me now? Because if the story keeps you small, keeps you fearful, keeps you tense, keeps you stuck in blame, then it may be time to write a new one. And you don't write it with force, you write it with practice. Here is a new story that holds your power. I am learning to choose myself. I am learning to trust myself. I am learning to speak clearly. I am learning to leave what hurts. I am learning to love myself through every season. These are living stories. They grow like gardens. You plant them. You water them with repetition. You protect them with boundaries. You let them bloom in their own time. My power lives in my choices. Now I want to address something that often happens when people begin to change their story. The old story tries to come back. You might have a good day, then suddenly a memory hits you, or you see their name, or you hear a song, or you witness someone else's behavior and it triggers the old pain. And then you think, I'm back at the beginning. No, sweetheart. You are not back at the beginning. You are in the middle of learning. Healing is not a straight line. It's more like the ocean. Sometimes the waves are calm, sometimes they crash. But the ocean is still the ocean. You are still you. So when the old story returns, meet it with compassion. Put a hand on your heart and say, oh, sweetheart, of course this hurts, and I am still safe now. Then ask, what choice can I make in this moment that honors me? Maybe the choice is to breathe. Maybe the choice is to step outside. Maybe the choice is to write in a journal. Maybe the choice is to call a friend. Maybe the choice is to stop feeding the mental movie and do something gentle for your body. Stretch, drink water, take a slow walk. Power returns through small moments, and small moments add up to a new life. My power lives in my choices. Let that be your lighthouse when the waves rise. Now, I want to give you a practical daily practice, something you can do even when you don't feel spiritual, even when you're tired, even when you're not in the mood to be mindful, because real transformation happens in real life. Here is the practice. When you notice yourself blaming, aloud or inside, pause, not to scold yourself, just to pause. Then ask yourself 3 gentle questions. What am I feeling right now? Name it simply: hurt, anger, fear, sadness, disappointment, shame, loneliness. What do I need right now? Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need reassurance. Maybe you need to be heard. Maybe you need space. Maybe you need a boundary. Maybe you need comfort. What is one choice I can make that supports me? One choice, not 10. One. Then make that choice with kindness. This is how you become the loving parent to your own inner child. This is how you stop begging for care from those who cannot give it. This is how you stop demanding closure from someone who may never offer it. You offer closure to yourself, and sweetheart, closure is not a conversation. Often, closure is a decision that says, I choose peace, a decision that says, I release the need to relive this, a decision that says, I call my power back. My power lives in my choices. Now, I want to give you a set of affirmations that you can weave into your day, not as a magic spell, as a new direction for your mind. You can say them quietly in the shower, in the car, before sleep, when you feel triggered. Here they are, gently. I am willing to release blame. I choose to come home to myself. I trust my ability to make loving choices. It is safe for me to set boundaries. I allow peace to grow in me. Say them softly. Let them be like warm water on your nervous system. And if you don't believe them yet, that is okay. You can still say, I am willing to believe. Willingness is powerful. Now you may notice something as you practice this. You may notice that your life begins to feel a little more spacious. You may not suddenly love everyone. You may not suddenly forget what happened. But you may discover you have more breath, more clarity, more inner authority. Many people find that when they stop blaming, they start seeing options they didn't notice before. They notice they can leave a conversation earlier. They notice they can say no without a long speech. They notice they can choose different people. They notice they can choose different thoughts, and over time, those choices create a new reality, not because life becomes perfect, but because you become centered. And when you are centered, you are powerful. My power lives in my choices. Let that be your truth, sweetheart. Now I want to speak to the part of you that is still angry, because sometimes we judge our anger, and that makes it harder to move through. Anger is often a boundary that arrived late. Anger is often the voice that says something here was not okay. So we honor that voice. We do not shame it, but we also don't let it drive the car forever. If anger has been driving your life, you may feel exhausted. You may feel like you can't relax, like you're always bracing. So I invite you to do something tender with your anger. Instead of using anger to keep you stuck in blame, use it to clarify what you value. Ask your anger, what are you protecting? It might say, I'm protecting your dignity, or I'm protecting your need to be respected, or I'm protecting your right to be safe. Then thank it and tell it, I hear you, and I will take it from here. That is a profound moment. That is when the adult self returns. That is when your power comes back. My power lives in my choices. And now, sweetheart, we begin to live from that place. We begin to choose relationships that are kind. We begin to choose environments that are supportive. We begin to choose words that nourish us. We begin to choose thoughts that are true and gentle, and when we make a mistake, we don't punish ourselves. We learn, we adjust, we return. You are allowed to return. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to outgrow old patterns. This is your life, your beautiful life, and you deserve to live it with an open heart and a steady center. Now take a slow breath. And feel your body sitting here now. Feel the present moment holding you. The past is not happening right now. Right now you are here. Right now you have a choice. Even if the choice is small, even if the choice is simply to breathe and soften your shoulders, that counts. That is power. My power lives in my choices. And now, dear one, we come to a gentle integration. Let me gather what we have touched together. You do not have to deny your pain to reclaim your power. You do not have to excuse anyone to set yourself free. You do not have to pretend you weren't hurt in order to heal. You simply choose again and again to stop placing your peace in someone else's hands. You take your keys back. You build loving fences around your garden. You let the river move. You rewrite the story. And you practice in small moments because small moments become a new life. Many people discover that as they consistently choose themselves, their relationships change, sometimes because they set boundaries, sometimes because they leave, sometimes because they show up differently, and sometimes life responds by bringing new people, new opportunities, new warmth, not as a guarantee, sweetheart, but as a natural effect of a new inner posture. When you stand in your own life, life meets you there. Now I want to offer you a final practice, something you can return to whenever you feel yourself slipping into blame. Place your hand on your heart, take a breath, and say slowly, my power lives in my choices. Again, my power lives in my choices. And again with feeling, my power lives in my choices. Now add this, I release what I cannot control. I choose what I can. I choose peace in my mind. I choose kindness toward myself. I am willing to heal. Let those words be a soft blanket around your heart. And remember, sweetheart, this is a journey. Some days you will feel strong. Some days you will feel tender. Both are part of being human. If you need support, it is okay to reach for it. This kind of inner work can beautifully support your emotional well-being, and it can also sit alongside professional guidance if you are receiving it. You deserve care in whatever form helps you. And I want to leave you with this truth. You are not here to be a prisoner of the past. You are here to grow. You are here to love. You are here to choose. So today, just for today, choose one small act of self-respect, one breath, one boundary, one new sentence, one gentle decision, and let that be enough. I am with you in spirit, dear one. I believe in your ability to come home to yourself, and as you do, you may discover something beautiful. Your power has been waiting for you all along. My power lives in my choices, and so does yours.